Joel Embiid has become one of the most polarizing figures in the entire NBA, and while he has a lot of people that support him relentlessly, he also has his fair share of critics as well. And I do think that he is becoming a tad bit overrated because as a superstar in the NBA and a player who has won an MVP, he has still never made it out of the second round in his entire NBA career. And while that is not entirely all his fault, and basketball is a team sport, you still have to consider that when putting him up there with guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's won a championship, guys like Nikola Jokic, who has won a championship and multiple MVPs, and Luka Doncic, who has not won an MVP or championship but has made a finals this year and has made a Western Conference finals before as the primary guy on his team. And Joel Embiid, throughout his entire career, has had a lot of support around him in terms of high quality teammates. The past couple of seasons, he's had Tyrese Maxey, who's become one of the best guards in the NBA, and he's had teammates like James Harden, Jimmy Butler, and Tobias Harris, who has been a solid player for them. And when Tobias Harris is your third or fourth option on a team, you're expected to be very good. In 2019, when the Philadelphia 76ers lost in Game 7 on the shot to Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors, that was supposed to be a team that could go to the finals. They had depth in a lot of places. You had Jimmy Butler, you had Joel Embiid, you had Tobias Harris playing very well. JJ Redick was at the end of his career, but still playing a very pivotal role on that team. And that was a very solid team. But again, in big game situations, he just could not get it done, and the team couldn't get it done. But if you want to look at Joel Embiid's performances in the playoffs, you have to look at his counting stats, but also his percentages. And in the 2024 NBA season, Joel Embiid averaged 34.7 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game on 53% shooting and 39% from the 3 point line. But in the playoffs, his scoring average only went down by a point and a half, and he averaged 33, 11, and 5.5, but only on 44% from the field and 17% from the 3 point line. And if you look at his 2023 stats, where he won the MVP, he averaged an incredible stat line throughout the entire regular season and shot 55% and 33% from the 3 point line. But in the playoffs, that dipped down to only 23 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and he shot 43% from the field and 18% from the 3 point line. And I must correct myself, in 2024 in the playoffs he did shoot 33% from the 3 point line, but that's still much below his average. And Joel Embiid has not shown up in big games throughout his entire career. Even during the regular season, he piles on stats during games against weaker, lesser opponents. And when it came time to play Nikola Jokic in Denver, he has had mysterious illnesses or injuries multiple times against both Jokic and other dominant centers in the league. And I'm not going to outright say that he's automatically ducking and not playing against these guys on purpose, but it seems like when it's easy and when he's playing against subpar teams or in a first round series against a lower seed in the playoffs, Joel Embiid is the Joel Embiid that we know in the regular season who's putting up big stats. And he gets a lot of praise for that, as he should, because he's a dominant center. But when it comes down to playing against really good teams with really good defensive systems in a 7 game series, he struggles a lot more, and it's very obvious that he does have actually flaws in his game. Last season in 2023, when the 76ers had a chance to close out Boston and led the series 3-2, Joel Embiid had two subpar performances, and not even just subpar for a superstar, but subpar for any player, and shot the ball incredibly poorly and turned it over and looked incredibly inefficient in both games 6 and 7 against the Boston Celtics. And Philadelphia ended up losing that series to Boston in 7 games. And that was probably Joel's best chance to get out of the second round and finally get over the hump that he's been trying to get over for so long. But again, him and his teammates just could not get the job done, even when they had a big lead, and they had one of the games at home even to close out the Boston Celtics. But again, he just could not get the job done, and that has been a constant theme throughout his entire NBA career. And when he won the MVP over Nikola Jokic last season, when Nikola Jokic went on to win an NBA title and NBA Finals MVP and looked like the most dominant player in all of basketball, you have to really consider that Joel Embiid, yes, he's had a lot of regular season success, and an MVP is a regular season award, but if you want to look at Joel Embiid's legacy going forward, you have to really consider the fact that he has had no playoff success at all. He is a dominant player 80% of the time, but when it comes down to big games, whether that be regular season games against other big time opponents or during playoff series when he needs to show up for his team as a superstar that he's claimed to be, he has not shown up in those games whatsoever. And to be a truly great player, you have to show up brighter when the lights and the stage get bigger. And Joel Embiid has not done that throughout his entire NBA career. And to be honest, I think it's really going to hurt his legacy one day because as he gets into his late 20s, early 30s, he's going to have to win a ring to cement his legacy as one of the best centers of our generation, and if not all time. And to be honest, I don't know how far he can actually lead a team because we've seen him with all-star teammates, all NBA teammates, and he still has not been able to get the job done. Let me know what you think of Joel Embiid in the comment section below, and make sure to comment and subscribe to the channel because I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. But let me know if you think that Joel Embiid is overrated, underrated, or just right rated because as of right now, as of the recording of this video, I do believe that Joel Embiid has become overrated throughout the course of his career, just as he hasn't showed up in big moments in both the regular season and throughout the playoffs.